Some characteristics and features of Caliph Umar bin al-Khattab: he was tall, physically powerful, and a renowned wrestler. He was also a gifted orator who succeeded his father as an arbitrator among the tribes. Umar became a merchant and made several journeys to Rome and Persia, where he is said to have met various scholars and analyzed Roman and Persian societies. The Rashidun Caliph, Umar ibn al-Khattab, his qualities and morals since the beginning of the Islamic message and its spread to the world. Part 7. We continue to tell a stage of the life of the Rashidun Caliph, Umar ibn al-Khattab. From first-hand accounts of his physical appearance, Umar is said to be vigorous, robust, and a very tall man. In markets he would tower above the people. The front part of his head was bald, always asere yusran, working with two hands. Both his eyes were black, with yellow skin. However, Ibn Sa'ad in his book stated that he never knew that Umar had yellow skin, except for a certain part of Umar's life where his color changed due to his frequent consumption of oil. Moreover, it is also narrated that he was initially white but his color turned dark during the year of Ashes 18a. Where a famine caused him to exert considerable effort in running the caliphate whilst there was a widespread lack of food. It is also narrated by Abu Nu'aym al-Isfahani that he had reddish-white skin. His teeth were ashnabal asnan, very white, shining. He would always color his beard and take care of his hair using a type of plant. The early Muslim historians Ibn Sa'd and al-Hakim mention that Abu Miriam Zir, a native of Kufa, described Umar as being advanced in years, bald, of a tawny color, a left-handed man, tall and towering above the people. Umar's eldest son Abdullah described his father as a man of fair complexion, a ruddy tint prevailing, tall, bald, and gray. Historian Salima bin al-Aqwa said that Umar was ambidextrous, he could use both his hands equally well. On the authority of Abu Raja al-Utaridi, Ibn Asakir records that Umar was a man tall, stout, very bald, very ruddy, with scanty hair on the cheeks, his mustaches large, and the ends thereof reddish. In addition, on the authority of Amir bin Rabia, Ibn Sa'ad records that I saw Umar a white man, pale, prevailing ruddiness, tall and bald. Umar was the first caliph to adopt the title Amir al-Mu'minin. Umar was one of Muhammad's chief advisors. After Muhammad's passing, it was Umar who reconciled the Medinan Muslims to accept Abu Bakr, a Meccan, as the caliph. During Abu Bakr's era, he actively participated as his secretary and main advisor. After succeeding Abu Bakr as caliph, Umar won over the hearts of Bedouin tribes by emancipating all their prisoners and slaves taken during the Ridda Wars. He built up an efficient administrative structure that held together his vast realm. He organized an effective intelligence network, one of the reasons for his strong grip on his bureaucracy. Umar never appointed governors for more than 2 years, for they might amass too much local power. He dismissed his most successful general, Khalid ibn Walid, because he wanted people to know that it is Allah who grants victory, and to counter the cult of personality that had built up around Khalid, for the sake of the Muslim faith. He would patrol the streets of Medina with a whip in his hand, ready to punish any offenders he might come across. It is said that Umar's whip was feared more than the sword of another man. But with all of this, he was also known for being kind-hearted, answering the needs of the fatherless and widows. Umar's swift imposition of justice against his governors for misdeeds made even powerful governors such as Muawiyah scared of him. Ali ibn Abu Talib, during the later rule of Uthman ibn Affan, wanted Uthman to be more strict with his governors, saying, "I adjure you by God, do you know that Muawiyah was more afraid of Umar than was Umar's own servant Yarfa?" Under Umar's rule, in order to promote strict discipline, Arab soldiers were settled outside of cities, between the desert and cultivated lands in special garrison towns known as Amsar. Known examples of such settlements are Basra and Kufa, in Iraq, and Fustat, south of what would later become Cairo. His soldiers were forbidden to own land outside of Arabia. There were restrictions on their right to seize buildings and other immovable things usually thought of as prizes of war. Movable spoils were shared with the people of the Ummah, regardless of their social stratum. A modern researcher writes about this. He used to monitor public policy very closely and had kept the needs of the public central to his leadership approach. As second caliph of Islam, He refused to chop off the hands of thieves because he felt he had fallen short of his responsibility to provide meaningful employment to all his subjects. As a ruler of a vast kingdom, his vision was to ensure that everyone in his kingdom should sleep on a full stomach. If a dog dies hungry on the banks of the river Euphrates, Umar will be responsible for dereliction of duty. Umar, he also knew that just having a vision is not enough unless it is supported by effective strategies. He didn't only have a vision, he truly transformed his vision into actions. For example, to ensure that nobody sleeps hungry in his empire, he used to walk through the streets almost every night to see if there is anyone needy or ill. In The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, Gibbon refers to Umar in the following terms, yet the abstinence and humility of Umar were not inferior to the virtues of Abu Bakr. His food consisted of barley bread or dates. His drink was water. He preached in a gown that was torn or tattered in 12 places. And a Persian satrap who paid his homage to the conqueror found him asleep among the beggars on the steps of the Mosque of Medina. His rule was one of the few moments in the history of Islam where Muslims were united as a single community. Abdullah ibn Masud would often weep whenever the subject of Umar was brought up. He said Umar was a fortress of Islam. People would enter Islam and not leave. When he died, the fortress was breached and now people are going out of Islam. Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah before Umar died famously said, "If Umar dies, Islam would be weakened." People asked him why and his reply was, "You will see what I am speaking about if you survive." His greatest achievement from a religious perspective was the compilation of the Quran. This had not been done during the time of Muhammad. However, during the Battle of Yamama, a great number of the memorizers of the Quran perished in the battle. On the advice of Umar, Abu Bakr tasked Zayd ibn Thabit with the momentous task of compiling the Quran into a single book. The Faruqi dynasty, which ruled the Khandesh region in north of Maharashtra, India, from 14th century until 16th century, has claimed their descent from Umar lineage. Along with Khalid ibn Walid, Umar was influential in the Ridda Wars. One strategic success was his sundering of the Byzantine-Sassanid alliance in 636, when Emperor Heraclius and Emperor Yazdegerd III allied against their common enemy. He was lucky in that the Persian Emperor Yazdegerd III couldn't synchronize with Heraclius as planned. Umar fully availed himself of the opportunity by inducing the Byzantines to act prematurely. This was contrary to the orders of Emperor Heraclius, who presumably wanted a coordinated attack along with the Persians. Umar did this by sending reinforcements to the Roman front in the Battle of Yarmouk, with instructions that they should appear in the form of small bands, one after the other, giving the impression of a continuous stream of reinforcements that finally lured the Byzantines to an untimely battle. On the other hand, Yazdegerd III was engaged in negotiations that further gave Umar time to transfer his troops from Syria to Iraq. These troops proved decisive in the Battle of Qadisiyah. His strategy resulted in a Muslim victory at the Second Battle of Emesa in 638, where the pro-Byzantine Christian Arabs of Jazira, aided by the Byzantine emperor, made an unexpected flanking movement and laid siege to Emesa Homs. Umar issued an order to invade the very homeland of the Christian Arab forces besieging Emesa, the Jazira. A three-pronged attack against Jazira was launched from Iraq. To further pressure the Christian Arab armies, Umar instructed Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, commander of Muslim forces in Iraq, to send reinforcements to Emesa. Umar himself led reinforcements there from Medina. Under this unprecedented pressure, the Christian Arabs retreated from Emesa before Muslim reinforcements could arrive. The Muslims annexed Mesopotamia and parts of Byzantine Armenia. After the Battle of Nahavand, Umar launched a full-scale invasion of the Sassanid Persian Empire. The invasion was a series of well-coordinated multi-pronged attacks designed to isolate and destroy their targets. Umar launched the invasion by attacking the very heart of Persia, aiming to isolate Azerbaijan and eastern Persia. This was immediately followed by simultaneous attacks on Azerbaijan and Fars. Next, Sistan and Kerman were captured, thus isolating the stronghold of Persia, the Khorasan. The final expedition was launched against Khorasan, where, after the Battle of Oxus River, the Persian Empire ceased to exist, and Yazdegerd III fled to Central Asia. Umar is remembered by Sunnis as a rigid Muslim of a sound and just disposition in matters of religion, a man they title Farouk. I stop at this point today. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the world's incredible stories. Soon we will publish Part 8. Thank you for watching.